are going to be like, oh, okay, there's like 50 coyotes over there. I'm good. Actually, we're going to stay over here. If it was 49 coyotes, I'd be over there in a second. I'd be raiding the fridge. But 50 is a little too much, so we'll just stay on this side of the river, I guess. And that way, again, they can kind of artificially bolster their numbers and keep that territory secure. So that they're not dealing with as many interloping canids in their territory. So wolves also do this. They're not as effective at it as coyotes are, because coyotes are crazy and they shift their pitch all over the place. But it does sound often when you're out in the woods and you hear them going off, you're like, I am surrounded by like 100 coyotes. Oh my goodness. But it's literally probably like 2 packs of 3 or 4. Are you modeling the cake?
Yeah. I want to make sure I get a picture of it before it's destroyed.
See, we should have had one big ugh so that somebody would like pop out of the cake when the wolves came over, and then they would never approach a birthday cake again. Maybe next year. So yeah, so there's a couple different techniques that the wolves will use to like modulate their numbers a little, and there are different howls that they do, although we haven't scientifically categorized like the different types of howls and what they might be, what they might mean. Although folks are working on it nowadays. We have machine learning models. I guess you could change the sound waves into something visual and have machine vision take care of it. But we have AI now that can kind of look over those large data sets and start to find patterns for us, so that we can pull things out. So there have been researchers that have been able to identify wolf packs just based on the recording of their howls. So if they get a bunch of recordings in an area, they start getting enough data on what the different packs sound like. They can now have a machine model go over the sound recordings and be like, okay, that was that pack and they were over here, and that was that pack and they were over here. And that's really advantageous, because most of the time, if you're trying to study wolves in the wild, you got a little bit of a problem. They have a flight distance between like 1/8 and 1/4 of a mile, which means if you get that close, they're going to try and get that far away again if they can detect a human presence. And unfortunately, a lot of really good wolf habitat looks very similar to this, except more brushy. And trying to look 1/8 or 1/4 of a mile through that to see if you can see any wolves is actually very difficult. So what biologists often do is they'll take to the skies and get up in a plane, and we can fly over and see if we don't have any foliage. We can try to see if we see any wolves from the air, see wolf sign from the air, and let us know that there are wolves in the vicinity, or maybe we can count them directly. That's very expensive and very risky. Going up those small planes is not without risk. And we can do things like, collar or capture them, trap them, dart them to try and get collars on them, so we can get a better idea about their numbers and where they are and what they're doing. But also, again, risky, very expensive. So a cheap way just to figure out, hey, are there wolves here or not, is to do howl surveys. We just go out in the field and howl. If you hear wolves howl back, probably wolves in the area. If they do not howl back, kids, it doesn't mean that there aren't wolves in the area, obviously, because there were 3 of them just staring at us like we were idiots while we were howling earlier. But it is a way, if you do hear them, you can be like, okay, cool, there are wolves in the area. And we used to do it with like lines of people, just kind of spread out in the woods, and everybody would howl, and everybody would listen, and then they all sort of turn towards the direction they think they heard the wolves howling from, and then everybody would like calculate the intersecting lines and be like, okay, cool, there were wolves like here-ish. And then we kind of evolved to where we could do that with audio recording equipment, and now the audio recording equipment can like do most of that work for us very cheaply and very non-invasively. In fact, they don't even have to like make a howl. They can sit there and passively listen, which is good, because now our howls aren't risking modifying the wolf's behavior, making them sound like, oh, there's like weird wolves in the area, we should maybe skedaddle. I don't know if I want to mess with that. So it's a lot less invasive way to kind of track our wolf population. So it's very nice. Let's see. Should we do cake? It's nearly cake time. So let's do not one more howl. We're going to save the howl for after the cake. If you guys want to give me just a couple minutes to slip in here, and then and also take this off so I don't tangle even more things. We will let the wolves out of their habitat. Oh no, I'm stuck. This is just, we're just going to go like this. Yeah.
A good earring?
It's a good earring, yeah.
Should he wear this for the rest of the night? Just like that?
More wolf enrichment for everybody. There we go. Thank you very much. I'm just gonna ditch these 2. It was actually not as wet out today as I thought it was gonna be, so the knee pads aren't really doing much for me, other than becoming ankle pads, which is not super effective. Cool. No, for each and rest. No.
So no waiting, just let them through as they go down.
Yeah, just let them do it. You're all set, right? Okay, and then Edie, if you want to take some video, you want to sit still. Your type of? You are talented, that's true. Monty's a very talented photographer and videographer, and we do offer photography sessions. So if anybody is jealous of Monty in here with his camera and this kind of access to wolves, check out our photography options, because you too can be just like Monty if you're 18 and older, and be in here with the wolves taking photos. Ooh. That's a very fancy tripod. Excellent. All right, so Debbie's going to go down there and let the wolves in, have their birthday cake. Birthday cake box. Box mix, Betty Crocker's best. I see wolves boiling over, and here they go. That is Monty out in front, Aspen behind, and then and he was decided that that piece is just for her. Trot all the way back. Way back there behind the trees where nobody sees.
Oh, that is fun.
Boys are actually sharing this. Sharing the rest of it fairly well. They did just open their birthday presents earlier today, so it might be a little satiated on boxes, which is probably cutting down on the amount of competition over box. Although you can see Aspen's hackles going up just a little bit over his shoulders there. You can kind of see how the hair standing up a bit as Monty's kind of in close vicinity. Monty, you have all the box right there. Really, that little piece cannot be that interesting. Beauty's in the eye of the beholder, though, so if he says it's that interesting, it's that interesting. Aspen's going now, kind of shredding the rest of whatever's in the top piece. That must have been, clearly it was the icing on the cake. Monty, did you spook yourself? So Aspen did a nice little agonistic pucker there, and I don't know if you guys could hear it, but he growled there. We got one in the lunge with his hackle still up. And his tail is kind of sitting out at what we call T2, where it's straight out like that, meaning his arousal level is up a little bit. Now you can see the hackles have gone all the way down to his butt. And so that reaction is the same as like goosebumps in a human. So, and that's not something we can control, right? So like when you are just, your sympathetic nervous system is firing for whatever reason, you start to get goosebumps. Wolves are the same way. So it's a very honest signal about how aroused they are, how excited they are about a situation. Oh. I'm just trying to pickpocket Monty. Monty said my guy, there's a whole middle section of cake. In fact, the base of cake. I think it's just the fact that it came down. It was flapping, kind of scared him. They actually use fladry, which is basically just flags on a string out in areas where wolves kind of overlap with livestock, in order to deter the wolves from approaching livestock too much. They will habituate to it over time, so the flappiness will eventually lose its power. But clearly, flappy things are enough to spook even really well socialized wolves, like Monty here. Basically, the used car salesman noodle dancey hair thingy is like a little sports nightmare. Oh, nice agonistic pucker from Monty there. But you can see his body language is a little confused. So he's saying back off with the teeth, his tongue's sticking out, but his ears are back, and he's actually smooshed himself down a little bit. But you can see how tall Aspen's kind of standing. But Aspen's not looking directly at him. He's averting his gaze a little bit. His tail's not all the way up, but again, you can see his sympathetic nervous system is just crazy firing with all those hackles going from his shoulders all the way down to his butt. And this will likely end in Monty probably rushing him off once Aspen breaks a certain distance threshold. So we'll probably hear some snarling, snapping, probably a little bit whining. I don't know if Aspen will probably retaliate if he does that. But you can just watch. Now, wolves are really, really sensitive about the use of body language, or about their use of space. So they're like, these little micro movements are like telling a whole story every time. So Monty's actually just gonna park himself and claim that real estate. And there's a little bit of, oh, of course, Kiwa's actually gonna come over here like a wrecking ball and just mess everything up.
It's like any more.
Yeah. And she's gonna come over here like she's clueless, I'm sure. Oh, is this your box? I didn't see it. It's often the case. All right. Well, Aspen went back to his very special icing on the cake top, and Kiwa looks like she's done doing something with her bushes there. I don't know what that was. May head back over this way, and Monty might actually run her off. Or she may get real brave and decide that she's just gonna take out anyway. Nope. What happened, Kiwa? She's like, I don't know. Oh, you flapped it. He was probably gonna pick that apart delicately. Still a little bit. So what's really interesting about this, and now his tail's tucked, so that's a position we would call T4 basically. So he's got it kind of tucked up between his legs there, maybe closer to T3.5. I'm laughing with you. So what's interesting about that whole interaction is if you watch Monty and Aspen interact otherwise, you would maybe label Aspen as the dominant male in the pack. And you probably would be correct. I would probably tend to agree with you. But the thing about wolves is it's not a strict hierarchy for the dominance. And honestly, it's really dependent on the resource and the personalities involved and the situation. So if that's valuable enough to Monty and he already has it, possession's 9/10 of the law. And he's very likely to be able to defend that resource from a quote-unquote higher-ranking animal. And that's generally the rule that we've seen with wolves for the most part. But when you notice the second he left it unattended, Aspen was right there trying to grab it and abscond with it. And now he's going to very, very delicately just heal. We just need to get him. Oh, I almost got you, buddy. That was close. See, it's tough making living as a wolf in the wild. Imagine if that was a big scary ungulate, buddy. Trying to kick you in the head. I'm going to have nightmares about this later. It's already being enriching. But again, wolves are actually generally what we call neophobic, which means they're afraid of new things. And so like wolves in the wild, if they saw something like that, that would probably be a big nope, and they would probably avoid it like the plague. Our wolves here are pretty well socialized, so new stuff, oftentimes they're like, ooh, new stuff, let me go check it out. Bonnie will go check it out and then spook himself. But that's, you know, like a little kid wanting to go downstairs with all the lights off just to kind of like... So I think as he gets it more shredded and it gets less flappy, we'll see him kind of tear into it a little more aggressively. Oh, there we go. Get the claws going. So wolves are actually very strong diggers, and it does come in handy, especially around their food. So because wolves are such inefficient predators, when they do get food, they need to make sure they can save as much of that food as possible. So often when they bring down a large ungulate, that's more than they can eat in one sitting. They will eat as much as they can, which can be up to 30% of their body weight in one shot. So they're built for feast or famine. But the leftovers, they'll actually dismember and kind of carry off and then bury into the ground. It's called caching. Anybody have a dog that likes to bury bones or toys in various areas in the backyard or maybe in your bed sheets? It's the same behavior that the wolves are doing. They're just going to save that for later, so it keeps the flies off. It can keep like other scavengers that aren't very good at digging away, and it can like maybe mildly hide a cache from like other animals. I suspect that what we've noticed with our wolves anyways is when we let them into a new habitat where wolves have previously been and there were hidden caches around the place, those wolves have no problem finding where everybody else's caches were. So it's not necessarily hiding it from other wolves, but it does help slow down spoilage, keeps the flies off, and like I said, keeps some of those scavengers that are not very good diggers, so like birds especially, because birds will decimate a carcass in no time. off of that. So their digging comes in handy for being able to save and then bring back food from their pantry, essentially. Buddy boy. Oh, you're gonna go back to the big box. Okay, that's where the prize is. So again, so now in that case, here's see what he does here. We're gonna give up on the base of the cake. Okay. Do you want to come over here and train or do something different? You want to check it out again? Gotta get it from that angle. You're so sneaky. You're such a good predator. Get it from the non-flappy side. Mike? Mike, come get you. Get around the corner. It doesn't look like Aspen is concerned about Monty going and trying to get the middle piece. Looks like Aspen mostly want to check out that base. There he goes. You guys probably can't see it because the log's blocking it. He's taking very tentative grab bites at it. So I'm not sure if he's just trying to peel it or if he's actually going to try and run off with it, but every time it seems to he runs off with it and starts chasing him. He's the one to drop it. But you can tell now he's got that lumpy whisker bed. He's starting to get that agonistic pucker again, or that snarl again. He's growling a little bit of kiwa. Man, almost got you that time. So close. Go for it again. Kiwa's getting a little closer. I imagine he's going to jump over that cake and give Kiwa one fork. And Kiwa made a decision to not get any closer. That's probably smart, Kiwa. So, also telling Aspen that he would like to scare himself further. Would appreciate it if nobody else broke his spooky toy. It's the most delicate of nibbles on the corner. Those inside your teeth. Now you're just going to lay down with it. And just pick a little piece of tape off the side. I feel like I should go over there and like pin it down for him, but I think he's actually pretty upset about that. So I'll leave him to that. All right, well, he's busy with that. You guys want to try another howl? Yeah. All right, let's do it. On three. Ready? 1, 2, 3. We got Kiwa howling. All right. Good job. And we got East Lake going. I hear timber. All right. Well, that was. Oh, there we go. Sorry, they weren't done. Actually, that sounds more like sparrow. And Kiwa howling back and forth, and Monty and Aspen are engaged in growl night. They never read the script ahead of time, and they always get those confused, which I can't really be mad about because they're terrible at reading. Very good, Kiwa. Nice classic solo howl out of Kiwa down there. So when they get really, really excited, oftentimes that nice little ooh howl will turn over to a and then everybody will get real close together, get very excited. They're doing that right in each other's faces, and then that often will raise everybody's arousal up, and you might see some growling kind of interspersed with that. That's what we call a rally. Everybody kind of just rallies to a focal animal. Everything gets very exciting. But it's a great way to reinforce pack bonds. There's a lot of affiliative behavior, a lot of friendly behavior kind of going on at the same time, so you get a lot of face licking and everything else. Brings kind of everybody back together. So, which is, again, which we mentioned earlier, was one of the functions of the howl. So since wolves oftentimes don't spend all their time together, especially like not necessarily this time of year, but we're kind of heading into it. So in the summer, when actually it's kind of lean for the wolves, all of their prey are in really good shape because they got all these wonderful green things to munch on. Makes it actually harder for wolves to take them down because not everybody's going to be weak and sick and tired. And also, it's really hard to like chase things through lots of thick brush. That's even more expensive. Oh, somebody. The wolves are going to have to spread out to find enough food, especially if there are pups on the ground. They got to be able to grab the food and bring it back to the pups wherever they are, whether they're still in a den or maybe they're at the rendezvous site where everybody's just kind of sitting there babysitting them while everybody else is off foraging. But the pups may have to, whoever's babysitting may have to move the pups to another den or to another rendezvous site. And the wolves are going to have to figure out as they're coming back with their food, where did everybody go? So they'll be howling back and forth to try and locate each other so that they can all kind of rendezvous back where the pups are and bring the food back. Anybody have any ideas how wolves bring food back to pups? Yeah. They do. They regurgitate the food. So oftentimes folks will think, oh, they're just like going to drag a whole deer back. But you can imagine they might actually be several miles away and trying to drag anything through brush like this. Anybody ever seen a dog or online or like had a dog that's like tried to bring a stick or a bone in through a door that is not big enough to fit the stick in sideways? Imagine trying to do that with a deer leg through all this brush. It would be very, very annoying and very, very tiring. So what they do, also, they're essentially, if they're holding it in their mouth, that's like holding a bunch of weight, like way out here with your arm. That gets very tiring also. So it's much more efficient to bring that weight to the center of your mass, which is what they do by eating everything they can find, up to 30% in one sitting, and bring it into nature's grocery bag and bring that back home for the pups. The other good reason to kind of pre-chew that food for puppies, who's been around dog puppies? What are their teeth like? They're tiny little needles, right? They got little needle teeth. Great for teaching bite inhibition because they can hurt without doing real damage. Terrible for crunching bone, which is what pups need to do because as they're growing, they have to get a balanced calcium to phosphorus ratio to make sure that their bones grow correctly. And you can really only get that from other bones in the wild. But their teeth can't really consume those bones easily. So the adults will go out there and basically be like the Vitamix of the woods and chew everything up, blend it up, carry it back in their stomachs, and then when they see the pups will come out and greet the adults and be like, oh, it's Uncle and Mom and Dad and everybody. And the adults will go, ugh, puppies, and regurgitate that for them. But it's a perfectly delicious, nutritious smoothie with everything sort of pre-chewed and pre-mixed. The little puppy mouths and puppy teeth can ingest it and digest it effectively. And that same greeting behavior where the pups are coming up and licking at the corners of the adults' mouths carries over into adulthood and takes on a new function. Well, it's still sort of the same function minus the throwing up part. But it's kind of what remains as their greeting, one of their main greeting behaviors. So oftentimes, dogs, most canines, the wolves, when they greet familiar and individuals that they're friendly with, they're going to come up and try and lick them on the face. And that's part of that same behavior. He's finally getting braver about it. He's gotten less flappy as he's denuded the paper wrapping. I'm sure in his head he's got a plan for like how he wanted to do it. Buddy, I was just telling him how much braver you were getting. Yeah. And now I just got close to it. We'll see if Monty has an opinion about that. I'm gonna. So while we're in here, so the howling's long distance communication, right? But a lot of the communication that happens between wolves happens at very close ranges. And most of that's going to be their body language. They are masters of reading each other's body languages, and ours, so if they're socialized. That's my scary thing, don't touch it. My birthday present, they brought it just for me. But I have feelings about it. Still a little conflicted. So now, what's interesting is he's walking off, and it might be a little bit because Aspen's sort of herding him away. So you can see Aspen's sort of a little bit blocking his return by where he's positioned himself. And his hackles are still up, and he's kind of standing tall around Monty. And now he's going to do a little T formation and walk around in there. So oftentimes wolves will do this. They'll try to control each other's space by like herding each other around. And again, this is a behavior that we've like really hypertrophied in herding breeds. So as we started to develop herding breeds of dogs, we were like, ooh, yeah, that behavior, we like more of that. Control everything's space, but without killing it. That's the thing we need. The wolves are interesting in that they do all the things that dogs do. They just do it at different frequencies than like our domestic dogs do. Because when we started domesticating species for different purposes, we would pick out pieces that we really liked and either accentuate them or accentuate those, and pieces we didn't like, we would try to extinguish those through a breeding program, and then of course like throughout their life through training. We do train our wolves here. I don't know you're going to see a whole lot of training tonight because they're very preoccupied with all of their presence. But we use positive reinforcement for all of our training. So if anybody's ever heard of clicker training, we do the same exact thing. We don't use clickers just because it ties up a hand, and we usually have like lots of different tools and stuff we're trying to do, so we don't want our hands tied up. So we'll often use either a really enthusiastic yes or a tongue pop, which sounds like a click from a clicker. But the nice part is I don't carry a clicker on me, but I'm usually carrying my tongue on me. So I can still make that sound effectively. It's a nice, consistent, repeatable sound, and we don't get any confusion with like, oh wait, was that the thing that told me I was doing a good job, or was it not? So for those of you who are not familiar with clicker training, essentially the idea is when you see an organism that did something that you like, you make a click sound or some other stimulus that they can perceive that says, great, that was awesome, I want to see more of that, and then you back that up with something that they really, really like, a primary reinforcer. Usually that's going to be food. But it can be any of their kind of like basic needs or things that they're always looking forward to. But the easiest thing to use in practice is food, and we use various things like Monty's Magical Meat Cookies, which are an amalgamation of lots of different meats that we have donated to us in our fridge, in addition to just chopped up cooked steak. This is actually, I think, turkey. We do cooked pork chops. So again, talking about domestic dog breeds, this is the beginning of the boxer breed. He was so happy. And now Monty has noticed. He did a really good job of maneuvering between the trees there too. I was waiting for him to just like check it on that one tree. Now we're probably gonna play a round of Ring Around the Mud Mountain. Maybe. Yep, there he is. He's got vision just out of like his right eye, I think. He was stepping on the paper there a little bit. Kiwa wants nothing to do with any of this. I say that as she gets up. Then go have something to do with this. Like, oh, activity. An unspoiled box for Kiwa. What do you think, Kiwi? Oh, she decided that maybe not. Maybe though we can get Kiwa to come over here and do some training. She seems not as interested in getting herself involved with the boys for once. So I'm going to see if she'll come over here and give me her paw. Which she might just blow me off because the box is more exciting. And that's fine. So part of, well, Monty might. Oh, so Monty, you can see he's wet up to his elbows and knees there, so it looks like he went for a dip in the lake. So clean up Aspen's icing on the cake there a little bit. Monty, you want some easy treats, bud? Let's see if Finn can offer me his paw. Sit down. That looks hard. I'd rather sit here in front of Monty and see that. Okay, no problem. Get up on the log.
Wow. Nice.
So again, when I was mentioning our photography programs, a lot of our wolves are trained to go up and pose on logs, which actually is very useful for getting wolves to do something constructive when they are very excited, when we just come in. And sometimes it can be very exuberant and bouncy. Again, like I said, wolves and other canines like to greet familiar organisms, social peers, face to face. There's a problem. When we're on two legs, our faces are way up here and their faces are way down here. So in order to fix that, often they bounce up and try to get their face on our face level, which is all fine and dandy if you're used to working with wolves all the time, and lots of bouncy wolves is something you're used to dealing with. However, if you're a brand new person, that can be a bit intimidating. So a constructive way to get around that is to have the wolves go station on top of something that brings them up to human face level, so they can still greet human faces without having to like rely on the human for balance. And the human doesn't have to suddenly realize like, wow, wolf heads are really big. They didn't look that big from outside the fence. And then feel a way about it in the moment. So they can not have to deal with that, and then also the wolf using them for balance either, or them trying to use the wolf for balance. But it's also just handy to control like where they are. So if we're working with multiple wolves at a time, sometimes they'll want to be each other's business. So it's really handy to go have one wolf go stand on one thing, another wolf can go stand on another thing. They can get paid for doing that while you work with a third wolf on something maybe more complicated. And that way everybody's getting paid, everybody's having fun, everybody's having a good time. Because one of the things we want to do while we're working with these guys in here is protect our relationships with them. We want to make sure that everybody is essentially winning all the time, and keeping the frustration pretty low. And Monty's doing a great job of having all wolves just kind of hang out there. We got one in a nice little Sphinx rest, and
these are hot out of the oven.
oh, there you go, even better. And everybody's waiting very patiently. Well, I say that as Kiwa decides to just kind of move in. See what she can do. Kiwa. Good. Very nice. So I'll see if I can get Kiwa over here to offer me a paw. Very good. Can I get one of your big old feet? Thanks. Very nice. And I don't know what happened to my nail trimmers. They seem to have disappeared out of my bag, which is unfortunate because I'd really like to get that dew claw. But this is one of the ways we ask the wolves to participate in their husbandry or their medical care. We basically just ask them to give us the body parts that we need to do the things we need to get done. So if I need to trim nails, I can get access to the nail from here, although you're kind of hooking your paw there a little bit. Can you flatten that out? That's not great paw placement. Can you fix it? No? Okay. And this is entirely voluntary. If she doesn't want to engage with any kind of foot stuff, she does not have to put her paws on here. If she does, great. We will take that and we will go on to the next step. In fact, I might be able to practice a blood draw with her. Let's see if we can do that. So I'm going to show her the syringe. I'm going to tell her hold. She's going to hold off this vein down here. Then I'm going to tell her poke. And I'm going to poke her with the needle. And I'm going to pretend to pull some blood out. And I'm going to pull it out. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Cap goes on. So we're going to poke our face. Good job. And at any point, if she wants to pull her paw off of that block and tell me, like, I actually don't want to keep doing this, that is totally fine. I will let her go. She was kind of flinchy on that round. Or if she sees the needle and is like, actually, no, that's stupid, I don't want to do that. She can just pull her paw off, or she can see it this time and decide if she does or does not want to engage in another round of that. Yeah, we're good? Okay, pull. Good. Okay, poke. Find that vein. Poke. Good job. Heels come out. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, 0. Cap goes on. Nice job. And in that way, we just keep this as a conversation, basically. So any of the training that we're going to do, they always have basically full autonomy for the most part. They're allowed to tell us no at any given point. We'll stop what we're doing and find something that is more agreeable to both of us. We pay them pretty heavily for difficult stuff. So that, like, she had to hang out for a long time while I'm squeezing on her leg. Wolves in general don't really love restraint. So anytime we do have to restrain them for anything, and grabbing her leg is restraining her, I'm going to make sure I pay her heavily for it. And again, I'm going to try and honor. Ready? Hold. Good job. And hook. Oh, that was a good one. Nice. Good. Okay, let's go out. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, 0. Cap goes on. And I'm counting back from 5 there. Just because anytime you puncture into a vein, you got to kind of like hold off or put some pressure on it so you don't get a hematoma. So I want to make sure we have lots of good learning history for that part of the behavior, just in case. So if I like poker and she's like, actually I want to bail, make sure that like holding that off so that we don't have any kind of complications is going to be easier for her than the rest of the procedure. But you'll notice, and I'm using a training needle, so it's not sharpened, but it is beveled and it doesn't feel very good to poke you. But I want to make sure that I'm being really honest with her that when I say poke, it's going to be uncomfortable. Okay, hold. That's okay. It's like, on second thought, actually, that's a stupid behavior. I don't want to do it. Oh, honey. There you go. You got it. It bounced in. But sometimes no is just like, no, just not right now. I'd rather do something else. And I'll come back to that later. And luckily, we have many something else's for her to do. So we can practice walking away and ignoring me and going over mine. As always, that's totally fine if she wants to do that. Here, let's see. You want to bite stuff? You want? So I'll pay her for responding to her name and essentially doing a recall. And then we'll see if she wants to open her mouth on this mouth target. Yep. Good. Well, that was a sweet. Right here. There you go. Nice. Very good. Excellent. We do that. That lets us look inside their mouth, make sure we don't have anything weird going on inside on the teeth, on the gums, on the tongue, in the throat. That also allows us to do. Let's see if she'll let me do a cheek swab. Cheeks.
I'll look at nose.
Yes. Good job. So if we need to take cheek swab samples, saliva samples, the skin cells from the inside of the cheeks for like hormonal assays, or we just need cellular detritus for somebody who's doing research. We got a pretty low invasive way to do that. We can also mess with their teeth. Very nice. So really their dentition's in pretty good shape. They get fed roadkill deer, so they're scrubbing their teeth every time they're chewing on the hides and things like that. But should we ever need to like have to brush their teeth, we can go ahead and get some of that programming in so that we can manipulate all of their teeth. Good. Very good. I'm just using my finger for right now, but we also have toothbrushes and things like that we'll stick in there and kind of mess around with. I've also got a borescope so we can actually get a better look and take photos inside their mouth if we need to. And again, she's told me earlier that like I don't really want to do any more paw stuff. That's totally fine. There's always some sort of medical behavior that we can train to make sure that we can still get some training in, if they would like some. Good. Nice. So look in here. Can't look in here. Thanks. Good. Good. Nice. And again, I'm paying her out pretty big because we're like taking some time. There's a lot of dead air, dead space where she's not getting reinforced for anything. And one of the reasons we want to do that instead of just like continuously feeding them, well, A, it'd be hard to do with something like a mouth target. So I'd have to be like fucking the food down there and they'd be choking. But B, there's situations where like we might not be able to actually give them food as a reward. Like if they're sick and they don't want food, or if they're scheduled for surgery and they can't have anything in their stomach, we want to make sure they'll still do the behavior. Without having to be like continuously fed the whole time. Whereas sometimes you'll see a lot of folks just like slamming cheese down their dog's mouth while they're trying to do something hard. But at best, that's probably just distracting them from it. And again, we want to be really honest and make this a real conversation with them. So say like, okay, hey, this thing's gonna happen next. Are you still in or are you out? Now, obviously, if there's like a real emergency and somebody's got a bone sticking out, we gotta do what we gotta do. But hopefully we've put in enough work on the front end doing a lot of this training and programming that will be less stressful overall in an already stressful situation. Okay, so I think I have run my mouth for an inordinately long amount of time. You guys are probably tired of hearing me yap. You guys want to do one more howl to close it off? All right, on 3. 1, 2, 3. Kiwa, everything about her is short. The tail, the head, the howl.
How do you use the target?
The paw target?
No, the red target.
Oh, the red target. So this is a stop sign. This is basically for when we do, so most of their behaviors, most of their medical behaviors involve what we call an assent behavior. So like if I need the head, I can ask for the chin rest. And as long as they're resting their chin in my hand, I can continue with the procedure. Same with that paw target or the mouth target you were just demonstrating. Some behaviors, there's really no way for them to like opt out easily. So if she did wear the muzzle, so once the muzzle's on, the muzzle's on. There's like no behavior she ceases to do that tells me she wants it off. So the stop sign is a way for her to discreetly tell me like, stop this, I need this off. So it's another way to say, no, please stop, discontinue. So we'll make that available either on our persons or on the fence so they can go select it. and that way we have a way for them to opt out of something that they've already opted into that they can't opt out of in any other way, if that makes sense. Other than like pawing at it or getting frustrated, which we want to avoid.
Sounds like we got some employees on the other side of the phone.
There probably are, yeah.
Yeah, they're home.
Yep, there they go. So okay, good job. We got Kiwa, we got East Lake kind of chiming in. So for like the time of year when they're not really motivated to howl that much, I think we did a pretty good job. Well, thank you everybody for coming out and seeing us tonight. This does officially conclude the end of the program. We are more than happy to hang out and answer more questions if you guys want to. But for those of us who would like to maybe go peruse our gift shop, feel free to go ahead and do that. Hope you guys were able to learn something tonight. Had a really good time. Hope you come see us again.